Are you ready to build your network at lightning speed? Well, mark your calendar for April 16th through the 18th and join us at Connect. You'll experience 3 days of growing, networking, and breaking through your limitations. Look, you'll never be the same. So go to attend-connect.com to learn more.
So, of course, it's always embarrassing because that wasn't the first or the last time that happened.
Right.
So just wanting to know, hey, where are we at and how much food can I get for, the week, really.
Yeah. I'm your host, Chaz Wilson. I bring you successful entrepreneurs, add valuable wisdom to your journey, and help you succeed. Welcome to Connect, Share, and Prosper.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Connect, Share, Prosper. There's some balloons for episode 100, which you will see here. Super excited to do today's episode for episode 100. And you'll see a special guest with me here. I got to turn my volume down. My most exciting guest. my most attractive guest. I'm just going to say that. So with me, joining me for episode 100 is my wife, Jaclyn Wilson, who's joining us today. I'll do a quick introduction. It feels kind of weird to do an introduction this way, but we will. So thank you for joining. I got Corey and Ashley and Gary and several others. Remember, today's episode 100, big celebration for today's episode. If you have questions, this would be your chance.
It's the TellAll.
It's the TellAll. I didn't know that. We should have had a meeting about a TellAll. So welcome to our episode, Connect, Share, Prosper. Make sure you share this and have people in your chapter join us today. So let me give an introduction, although I probably should have wrote this introduction, to be honest. Jaclyn has been my wife and partner in crime for the last 20 years. We're going to be married 20 years in May.
I know.
Hard to believe sometimes, right? A former nurse. Jaclyn is now the busy mother of our 5 children, when she's not running the kids from all their activities and doing all that stuff. She loves to spend time outdoors, play with our 2 dogs, work on home improvement projects, and connect with friends. So welcome to episode 100.
Thank you.
Gosh, where to start? There's so much. We were saying before we went live today that this is probably for me one of the hardest interviews because of the curiosity factor, right?
There's no more curiosity.
There's no more curiosity. But there are some curiosity factors that I want to talk about. And I'll go back to the beginning of starting Master Networks. From your perspective, when we just come out of this really tough economic time for a lot of people, and for us especially, we just had the twins.
Yes.
Right. So 5 kids in 7 years. That was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all a blur.
It's all a blur, especially that first year, right?
First
what was the first year having the twins like for you?
Extremely hard. That was probably the most challenging thing, I think. Physically that we went through, emotionally challenging. Like we said, it's all a blur, really. That was
it was a blur.
It was a blur. It was completely a blur.
So the best blur moment story. So you were working as a nurse. We had the little babies. We had 3 in diapers actually at the time.
Yes, we did.
And you came home from a night shift one time.
Yes, I did.
So I want to hear your perspective of the story.
I came home from night shift and I heard one of the boys in the room. He was awake and I went to go feed him. I thought, I'm just going to let you sleep. Go feed him. And I went in and I went to take off his diaper and I'm like, there's 2 diapers on there. And I'm like, poor Chas. I'm like, he must have had like this huge blowout. He was changing diapers all night long. I felt so bad. And so I'm like, I took off this diaper and I took off the other diaper and I changed him and I fed him and I go in and Chas gives me the one-eyed look like, you're home. And I went, I forget which boy it was.
I don't remember,
Tate
obviously.
Or somebody. Why did he have 2 diapers on? And he went, he had 2 diapers on? You can even remember changing him.
I don't remember changing him, right? You get up in the middle of the night, feed him, change him, all that stuff. You were at work, so, getting sleep was at a premium. And I mean, it could have been worse. I could have not put the diaper on, right? Yeah. But I double diapered him.
It's fine.
I don't know. Is that a phrase? A double diaper? I double diapered him. And that was one of those fun experiences the first couple of years with the twins and having 5 children in 7 years. And then at that same time, going through this economic challenge and the struggle for us, and then coming to you and saying, hey, I want to start this new company. this new idea I have to start Master Networks. And, many people have heard me tell the story kind of at that time of our life when Dave Jenks had come to meet with us and he was at our office and you made a phone call. You're at the grocery store and we have, hey, I'm at the grocery store. The card's not working. And I remember looking online, we have $27 in our account. And so a lot of people have asked, probably the one question that people requested the most to know from you during this episode is, what was it like for you during that time, making that phone call, understanding where we were at in the reality of starting this new business?
Well, first off, I was at the store with three little kids
are,
just
little
that
babies.
in of itself. Yeah. So of course it's always embarrassing because that wasn't the first or the last time that happened.
Right.
So just wanting to know, hey, where are we at and how much food can I get for, the week really. Yeah. That just being, the challenging moments of, where can we go from here?
Yeah.
And how can we make it was, I think, probably the most struggling part. The biggest struggling part for me was, how can I support you in that process and not become upset at the situation.
Right. Because we're in a situation, it's tough. And many people...
Yeah, it is what it is.
Right. And many people can relate. Like, you're in a hard spot, you're trying to start this business. And I think the thing was that while it was hard, you kind of come to a fork in the road, right?
Yeah.
Here we were, not only did we have this hard economic time starting a new business and have twins, 5 children, like stack the deck, right? At that moment of our life, it felt that way. And we had this decision. We could like let it kind of tear things apart, or we could kind of come together.
Yep.
And I think we just made that conscious decision of like, let's try to work this together. But you said like you have a timeline to make this work.
I did. I said 18 months.
18 months. So, that's a pretty fair timeline, right? Like 18 months to make it work.
That's it.
Yeah. And fortunately it was pretty vague, like 18 months make it work.
If we can't buy groceries in 18 months, like that's
and there were still tough times, like even through that, but you could see the progress.
Yeah. If there is no progress, then
it's time to move on. And so I think that's a important part of that. And so when did it start to feel better for you?
Honestly.
Yeah. This is the tell-all. You said it was the tell-all.
Okay. It was the first trip to Texas.
Okay. That would have been like 2014-ish, late 2014.
Yeah. Where I really knew that it was the time where we were on the right track, we were on the right path, and ultimately we were going to end up here. Yeah,
we knew on that trip, right?
Yeah,
we were going to relocate.
Trip. Yeah.
So what about coming to Texas during that time? I did a workshop. Mm-hmm. In fact, met some of the people who are here, some of the early Master Networks folks were part of that meeting. Elizabeth, who works with us now, was at that meeting, and others. But what was it about that workshop and that time here in Texas with that special group of people that made you kind of go, hey, we're in the right?
I think it was just that meeting in general, the feeling that was in the room, some conversations that we had with some individuals, and just, it was really a feeling of this is where you're going to end up and this is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I felt that too. I felt it was a pivotal moment, and we had some time left, and we
never even spoke of it to each other until later. But we both had that experience of this is it, and several months had gone by, if not a year. I think you had even had like a second trip out here before you had even said anything. Yeah,
it was interesting, like that. Neither of us had really said that. No. I kind of assumed because you were born and raised in Minnesota, like that you'd never want to move. And then it just sort of evolved pretty quickly into that discussion. And it was like, we made the decision and we moved on it. Like it was fast.
Yeah. Cause we both knew.
Yeah, we both knew we needed to end up in Texas and be a part of this. Guys, I'm joined with my wife, Jaclyn Wilson, for episode 100 of Connect, Share, Prosper. If you have a question in the TellAll episode, apparently that's what we're titling this, the TellAll, make sure you type it in here. All right, it's open season for questions on Connect, Share, Prosper, episode 100. So it was an interesting time during that. We started to see things improve, which you said you saw when we moved to Texas. What was it like for you to then pick up and leave and come to Texas? Like, who did you know and how do you move?
Oh yeah, it was still hard. Well, we had all of our Master Networks family.
That's right.
We did. It was our family.
Yeah.
And so it was still really hard because we still had our family there.
Yes.
I still had, my work that I loved and really didn't want to leave. But we both knew that this was the right decision. And even though it was a pivotal moment for our kids, it was kind of that blind faith where taking that leap was, coming here and just ultimately believing that this was the good choice.
Yeah.
So
let's transition a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people watching part of Master Networks, you have couples who, you have some couples that work together, they own a business together. And then you have couples where one is sort of that entrepreneurial minded individual, and then you have another spouse who's either not working or has a kind of 9-to-5 job. Nothing wrong with either one, right? So how, what's it like for you? What would you say to somebody who is the entrepreneur? So the entrepreneur listening, what do they need to be aware of to the spouse that's not an entrepreneur, right? I mean, I already know some some that are probably coming, but it'll be interesting to hear from you.
Just to understand that that's not their realm, even though it's your realm, it's not theirs. Like for me, it's medical, right? And so
medical field, right?
The medical field.
Yeah.
And so I try to think of it if I were to come home and start talking, medical to you, that's not your,
it's not my
that's
jam.
Not your jam. It's not your thing. So it's the same for the entrepreneur, the business stuff. I kind of get a glazed over look, type of a thing. So I try to look at it too a lot in relationships. It's the give and take. So even with the business, you still want to share, you still want to open up and share that thing. So you don't want to cut the spouse off to what's going on in the business. You still want to share that, but to a certain level and degree to their own understanding. You still want to let them in. You still want to share that.
So I think early on when we were married, I would go to a conference or I'd have an idea or I'd come back with something and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm so excited about it. I'm trying to transfer that and I'm realizing it's slow down. There's just too much. And over time I've understood that better, but I think that's a piece of it. You're saying it's the same if you went to some medical conference and you learned something and it's hard for me to understand that. Ashley asked a question that's good. So in the beginning, I don't know in the beginning when, in the beginning before I was so good at living by my calendar, as a mother, what did you say to the kids to explain why dad's crazy schedule? I don't know. I think because you were working, that made a difference too.
That did make a difference because we all had crazy schedules.
Yeah.
We both just took up where the other one left off.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a constant rotating wheel.
Yeah.
It was a hamster wheel, really.
So if you guys could understand the visual, the truth is, so I would many days especially when you were working, I was getting the kids off to school, go pick them up from daycare.
3 daycares.
3 daycares.
Daycares originally.
I remember that. It was a half hour to 45-minute drive around town to pick up all the kids to try to make that work because we couldn't get all the kids at. Yeah,
we won't go into that.
And then there were days crazy. I got home and you were leaving to go to work and it was like a high five out the door and that was it.
So the kids grew up that way.
Yeah.
And so honestly, when we first moved to Texas and I decided not to work after different experiences, but we decided to stay home. The kids were like, well, why aren't you working? They didn't get it. They're they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So they kind of grew up that way and they knew that it was kind of that give and take and they were used to it, but they knew that both of us would do everything possible to get to where we needed to be with them.
Yes.
And as long as we were forthcoming and put it out there that, hey, we're going to be here or hey, we're not going to be there. I'm sorry. but I can't wait to hear all about
Yes.
XYZ.
I think the other part was we tried to do as much as we could. There were times when, she might get an hour for lunch and I'd take the kids down and we'd try to do that or just
making the most of what time we had.
Yeah, making the most of what we had to make that work. I always felt the hardest part was when you worked nights and you would sleep during the day. So on the weekends when she had to sleep and we have this small little house and it's 25 below outside, so I can't tell the kids to go out and play. I have 5 little kids. I'm like shushing all day. Shh, quiet, mom's sleeping. Quiet, mom's sleeping. And they used to get to that point where they were, even when she was up, sometimes they were like couldn't make sounds because they were so used to
is mom sleeping?
Mom sleeping during those times. So it was a hard time.
Yeah,
it was a hard time. That's a good question, Ashley. Appreciate that. Appreciate that question. I think that it's just as a couple, we had to be really involved together in that time. And look, there were times where you've supported me 100% of what I'm doing, and then there was times I had to support what you're doing 100%. You just go back and forth on that.
You just have to make sure it's an effort on both your parts to be on the same page at the same time.
I think running a business is one of the hardest things to do. I couldn't imagine doing it without a supportive spouse. I don't know how people do that. It's tough. It's tough because you have the business and then you got to go home. And if you don't have that support, it's very, very tough. So she makes reference to calendar, and I talk about calendar all the time, but we're pretty regimented with and disciplined to our time and our calendars and the way we do things. I think we have to be. How has that played out for you? Or is that brought balance for you as a spouse? Like the fact that I live by a calendar and know where I'm going to be.
Yeah, know where you're going to be and when you're going to be home. And I mean, for the most part,
right.
It makes a lot of difference. Yeah. Makes a big difference.
Guys, again, we're here with Jaclyn Wilson. Really quick, I just want to throw in a quick announcement and reminder for Connect upcoming, which you'll be there. You'll be at Connect
with the kids.
With the kids, and we have a special thing we're going to be doing the first night with our charity that we're going to be supporting at Connect. Listen, we're 80% sold out. The hotel room block is nearly sold out. So come join us at Connect. Be a part of this event where you can meet Jaclyn and you can ask her the question maybe you're afraid to ask on the episode. But join her and be a part of that and join us at Connect. Attend-connect.com. Get tickets while they last. April 16th, they go to full price, or March 16th. April 16th will be the event. Join us here in Dallas. So join us at Connect. A couple special announcements will be coming soon. Further announcements on Connect. All right. And several people say we will be there, and I'm looking forward to that. Lots of keynote speakers, lots of breakout speakers at Connect. What's been your favorite part going into year 5 of Connect? What's been your favorite part of Connect?
My favorite part is always with the kids and always seeing them grow and seeing their notes. Like the kids, oh my gosh, like the first 2 years, even when the twins couldn't write, like seeing their little scribbles. Oh my gosh, like it was so cute. Like for them,
they were just scribbling,
pretend to take notes. It was like the cutest thing. And so it's like their personal growth and development and the things that they still talk about and the speakers that they still talk about and the things that they learn that they have carried forward. That's my favorite part about Connect every single year. Is just to watch them. So what's it been like for you to see, well, me being member number 1 all the way to now surpassing 3,000 members from a spouse, supportive, et cetera, from the spouse of a business? Like what's it been like for you to watch this journey where it hasn't always gone the way we've wanted, and then sometimes it's gone really well and stuff like that? What's it been like for you? It's been a journey. It's been a journey. That's for sure. No, it makes me very thankful and for what you've learned, for what we've learned as a family. Proud. Very much to know where we've been and you know what you've made of it, and I'm just very thankful for what we have. And to be honest, I still to this very day, when I stick my card into, to go pay for groceries, I still have that sinking feeling. I hope it never goes away, quite honestly, to, know that you're at 3,000 members. But I don't think that feeling will ever go away because we've been at one place, we're here at another place. But always be grateful for having those experiences.
I remember Ed Milet talking about that, where when they first got married, they had no money and the water got shut off.
Yeah.
And so here he's got his new bride, and they were in an apartment complex, and they had to go down to the pool. It had showers, and he would literally hold a towel so she could shower, and then they would switch, and she would hold the towel over the shower so he could shower, and they did that for months, and it was cold water.
Yeah.
And so he talks about how every time still, and it's been 30 something years, but still every time he turns the shower on, he's expecting cold water. Like it's just that almost muscle memory kind of thing, right? So totally get that. It's been that's been an interesting thing for I think for us, no matter what. So the move to Texas and the growth of the company, and you've had the fortune to travel to some. I just went to New York, and you were with me, I think 2 years ago when we went to New York. A lot of the members know you. And so what's it like for you when you get to travel and go to connect and see members from master networks or go to the different regions? And what's it been like for you?
Oh, I love them.
Yes.
I love the members. I love being able to connect with them because it makes it more real. It makes it more personable. It just,
I was just in New York, and Coach Glow was like, where's Jaclyn? Where's she at?
Glow.
Yeah. So
yes.
It's been a fun ride with it.
Because as big as Master Networks gets, it just makes it feel smaller. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like it's that community that, So.
For sure. So what do you see? I think for entrepreneurs, I've been saying, I think we're in seasons of economics, right? We're in the fall. I think it's good. The economy's good. We're able to kind of go around and pick up the harvest and do, good things. But what comes after fall? The winter. And I feel like with winter coming and the economic storms, what do you think that members should be doing to sort of get ready for winter? If you think winter was back when we started again too, like that.
You're asking the nurse.
Yeah, I just think from your perspective, what should they be doing?
Be smart.
Yeah.
Just be smart. Don't get overly comfortable.
Yes.
Because I think that's where a lot of us make the biggest mistakes.
Sure.
Is when you just get comfortable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd say don't get comfortable and then get around people who can help support you, right?
Yeah.
That's why Connect is so powerful.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, I agree, Victoria. She's gorgeous. That's what Victoria said.
Victoria's my new favorite.
Yes. So, listen, I think that this is an important time, and this is why we do Connect, because it's the fall, but winter's coming, and it's important to be around other people, right? So, okay, let's do lightning round. This is kind of fun. Do you guys have any questions while you're in the studio? You're here with it? And they're like, no, I don't want to be on camera. No, don't ask me a question. Guys, again, remember, you can shoot a question in for us. This is the TellAll. So what's it like living with a crazed entrepreneur, a crazed psychotic person like me?
It's a ride.
Okay.
It's exciting. It's always something new.
Always something new. Yeah. We always have some new idea, some new thing that we do as entrepreneurs. I think, okay, so let me ask you this. And there was a couple questions on here that were sort of personal, not like business stuff.
I say, oh, that's great. Here's the trash.
It's true, right? Like I go speak on stages around the country, get the applause. I walk home and she's like, hey, how are you? Hug. All right, here's the trash. Take it out. No, but I think that's important, right? So then let me go to a different question I was going to ask. Again, Connect, Share, Prosper, episode 100. I have a special guest, my wife, Jaclyn, about to celebrate 20 years of marriage. Super excited for that. So what makes us work?
I think it's because we're opposite. I mean, we're the same, but we're opposite. You know what I mean? Like the complementary.
In what ways are we opposite? I'm putting her on the spot now, right?
Yeah. I do think you're more outgoing.
See, I disagree with that.
I know you do, but
I know.
You are.
Okay, so why do you say I'm more outgoing?
You are.
Let's see, here's what you guys need to know while she's thinking about this. So she says I'm more outgoing, but if we go out with friends and go out like to a party situation, I am way more reserved, and everyone wants to talk to her. So true. So true. Okay, Victoria says, How is it being Chaz's MVP? I don't know what that means exactly, but that's what Victoria asks.
Most valuable player.
You're my most valuable person.
Yes.
Again, I don't think
Like support.
Support, yeah.
The person that you turn to most.
Yeah.
I guess.
You know a lot about this business.
I do know. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I know a lot, but
I don't try to put it on your shoulders.
It's more of just like a sounding board.
Yeah.
Than anything. So I don't try to give advice unless you ask for it.
Yeah.
Just like.
I mean, but it's usually good advice. I'll tell you one of her gifts that she won't admit to, but she can read people really fast. You've sniffed people out faster than I have many times, right?
Perhaps.
Yeah. We've been with people and I maybe have brought them in or something like that, or I'm considering it. And there's been times where she's like, yes, absolutely. Or there's been times I've been really excited about somebody and you've been like, nope. And I'm like, why? She's like, just trust me. Just trust me. And you've been right. Like, it's a good sense. She's got a good sense of people. And so to answer your question, Victoria, like that would be my response, is that what it's been really powerful is she has a really good sense of people. And that's been really valuable in this time.
Well, and I don't necessarily either, and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
I would never dare.
Don't necessarily hold it against you or anybody else if there's a wrong decision made.
Yes. Because you're going to make them.
Well, because you're going to make them. And it's just what it is. It is what it is. And so it's the learning from it and not making the same decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not making the same decision, wrong decision twice.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you another question. Okay.
Yeah.
Phrased a little differently in my questions, but one of the questions that came in was, and I think I understand what was being asked of this, but what do most people who see me as the leader of Master Networks, etc., what do people not know about me? Like what's a characteristic or something that most of the time isn't very visible and public that most people don't know about me? Is that good?
Characteristic?
Yeah.
You know every line from Tommy Boy?
I know every line from Tommy Boy. I don't think that's a characteristic. That's a skill. That is a skill I have worked on for a long time. Lots of episodes of Tommy Boy I've watched. That goes back to high school days of watching that. That's true. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
That you, I don't know. I think people know that you're genuinely caring. I don't know if that's something that people don't know.
Yeah. I think sometimes they see the decision making, the tough exterior, the business thing, and they think you can't be tough and care about people at the same time.
But I think people who know that about you, that you genuinely care and want to help and want them personally, not just their business, but like them personally in their personal life.
Ashley asked a really good question.
Oh, Ashley.
Ashley, you've been good with these questions.
Ashley, you've been on point.
Brad said, that's a scary invitation to ask your wife. I know, man, but this is a tell-all. I get it. So Ashley said, what do people get wrong about me the most?
That you're not caring.
Why do you think people get that wrong?
Because I think that they see just like I guess it would be like the stage presence. That they might just see that stage presence, like when you go speak or when you go like. Yeah. I think that they see that persona and not the real get to know you. Yeah. Type.
Or I think sometimes they see the tough decisions when I have to fire people or let people go or whatever, and they think that
the business decisions.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's the thing that people miss the most, or misunderstand.
Yeah.
Ashley, you win an award for the best questions today. Those were really good questions. It's been fun. Yeah, you want to send it's been fun, like, to have you in. Was it hard? I knew you're super nervous about this. You guys, she was so nervous. So give her some hearts and some thumbs up on this. She was really nervous about this episode. So this is what I think has been awesome about my wife in this whole role is she's been incredibly like supportive and like the thing is, like, I know how much you care about master networks and our people, but like, that's why I had like drag her in on this. Because she cares about people, but I think that's also something similar that, like, because you're not always in the forefront, that, you know, you're not caring as much about this, and she does, definitely. So appreciate that about you. How was it? Was it as hard as you thought?
It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. So listen, this has been episode 100. We have had a bunch of people that have had an impact on this show, and I want to give them a cool shout out to this episode. And so some of them are in studio today and in here right now. So I'm going to have them come on in. Come in. No, you got to be on camera.
You have to come in. If I have to do it, you
come
have
in.
to do it. Come on.
So we have, yeah, come on in. So we got Ricardo in here. We got Josie come in here. Josie, Ricardo, Andriana, Carrie. This is the team that makes this episode, these podcasts and episodes work. Yeah, so we'll see if everyone's in screen. So you might have to like sneak in. So this is the team that makes this thing work. Huge shout out to them. Give them some thanks in the in this, and I think it's really been an awesome ride. 100 episodes of Connect, Share, Prosper. Watch for at least 100 more. Yes. I think we're ready. Are we willing to do 100 more episodes?
Oh, yes.
I get such great feedback. I gave a thumbs up. So, you guys are getting a ton of likes. I think they're all Alexis over there. No. The best team ever. Yes. And Dana said, hold on a second. Dana said she deserves a trip to Canton for such a great job. So,
yes.
Great shout out from Dana. Listen, guys, thank you so much for awesome 100 episodes. It's been exciting. Every Monday, noon Central, join us on the Master Network's Facebook page, where I bring special guests, entrepreneurs alike, who will share their success stories with you, the ups, the downs. So join us every Monday, noon Central, on the Master Network's Facebook page. Share this episode. Thanks so much for being on episode 100. Yes. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Are you ready to build your network at lightning speed? Well, mark your calendar for April 16th through the 18th and join us at Connect. You'll experience 3 days of growing, networking, and breaking through your limitations. Look, you'll never be the same. So go to attend-connect.com to learn more.